Hey guys, and welcome to week 3 of my 30 books in 30 days reading vlog, coming at you from my parents' room. But okay, so this week is gonna be my reading week. My hairstyle's gonna be a wrap that my mom did for my hair, so thank you to my mom. Shout out to her for lending me this headscarf. And yeah, this week is going to be a reading week because I am one book behind. It's day 15 and I've read 14 books so far this month, which is absolutely amazing. That's more than I've read every single month this year so far. But we're aiming big here, guys. We're going to go for the goal. So I started off this morning by reading 100 pages of Cherry Crush by Catastrophe, and this is a reread for me. It's a book I read in my childhood, and as I was reading, I just kept remembering things that were going to happen, and it's making me really, really happy. If you couldn't tell by the smile. There's going to be some major drama because she falls for her older stepsister's boyfriend, so I know the drama's coming. Can't wait. That's in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler. But also she has to move because it's about her starting with her new family because her dad has a new girlfriend, and when they move she's like, oh, I can keep in contact with my friends by email and MSN. Email and MSN, those are the days, guys. Okay, we only have 70 pages left of this book, and I need to give a little bit of an update. So Shay, there's no cheating, which I'm very, very impressed that they've managed to make no cheating, even though she's falling for somebody else's boyfriend. But Shay is always like, oh, Cherry, you're the only one who listens to me. I'm like, what? There's been no chemistry, there's been no listening. But now there is chemistry, and now there is listening after he said she was the only one who listens. So I guess I can give them that, but I do feel like I needed to mention that their relationship starts off having no real chemistry. Like, they say things have happened to make them closer than they really are that just haven't happened, but now they're happening. So I really like this book. I'm really just enjoying it, and seeing the dad and the mom work together to try and get their chocolate box company off the ground. They're both really passionate about their passions and making it work for them, even if they have to start from scratch. And that always is something that really inspires me when I'm reading, and it makes me want to work harder at my writing and at my booktubing and book blogging and bookstagramming and all those creative endeavors that I do, as well as uni. It just makes me feel really passionate and excited. So I always love books like this, and I know that the whole series is going to make me feel that way, and I just need I need books like this that fuel my motivation so that I can get somewhere in life in the artistic way that I want to. Hello! So I just finished reading Cherry Crush by Kathy Cassidy. I'm not going to say too much because I've already talked extensively about this book, but I really liked where it left off and I cannot wait to continue the series. This is my 14th book of 30 and puts me back on track if I finish another book today. And it also counts for ancient runes for an owl because it has chocolate hearts on the cover, so that's definitely counting. As well as that, I'm 200 pages into It by Stephen King. I'm going to reserve my judgment because it still feels like the beginning even though I'm 200 pages in. This is an incredibly slow-paced book, but the writing is incredibly detailed, kind of like a Game of Thrones, and I really like detailed writing in big books. It's just something I like even if it slows the pace way down. Guys, it was my turn to make dinner and I made spinach and feta frittata. You can tell by the different salads on the plates that different family members like different vegetables. Bon appetit! Hey guys, good morning. It's day 16 and I just wanted to do a quick wrap up of what happened yesterday because it was quite a lot of b-roll and not quite a bit of me talking. So what did we do when I left you? Oh, I worked on my short story assignment for my short story class, wrote a 1,000-word short story, edited it, everything, handed it in, so that was good to get all of that done. I also worked on some work for my Australian literature class, did all the prep that I needed for Monday's classes. That's also done, so it was quite productive on that front. I also read another 100 pages of It by Stephen King while I drank a litre of tea, because that teapot can fit a lot into it. But yeah, I am still at the part where they're children. I really like the characters of Eddie, Ben and Bill. And that means I'm a quarter of the way through this because it's about 1,200 pages. But yeah, enjoying it so far, but it is very detailed and slow paced, but very creepy. And then after drinking a litre of tea, I proceeded to do my yoga flow, and I felt very stretched and relaxed afterwards. And then I started to read some more, and I read a few pages of Earthsea, the first book of Earthsea, which is A Wizard of Earthsea. And I'm reading these for Longs. This is a bind up of the first 4 books, but I'm not going to read all 4 this month, just the one, so that I can do the live show. I read 28 pages, which is not much, but I proceeded to fall asleep after 28 pages. And I'm just gonna go, because it's only 166 pages long, but the font is quite small, so there's quite a lot of words on one page, but I'm gonna go read the other 166 or whatever pages and finish this right now this morning. Hello, welcome to In Bed Olivia. Cramps have happened today, and when cramps happen, my focus is completely shot through. And I'm not really good at doing anything other than watching the same film that I've watched a billion times, because it's what I do when I'm in pain. But I'm okay now. I'm getting by. I've read some more of Earthsea. I'm actually almost finished. I'm 40 pages away from the end, and I do enjoy it. It's not the most exciting book, and that's because it's a classic, so it's got that kind of slow fantasy feel to it, kind of like Lord of the Rings, but then it's far better than Lord of the Rings. The best way I can describe this is the fantasy side of Lord of the Rings, if it only focused on wizards, combined with The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, because while more stuff happens in this one and there's more stakes and such, I also feel like it's really about this wizard who goes on a journey and he learns along his journey by doing the wrong things, but he learns. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about this one. Don't think I'm going to get much done today other than just reading this, because my mind's just a little bit not focused. Hello, I think you can tell I'm somewhat better by the fact that I decided to get up and get dressed again and I'm out of pyjamas, but I wanted to tell you that I finished A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I really did enjoy this one. I feel like it's not going to be a book for everyone because, as is all classic fantasy, it's quite slow, and in the end, while it was climatic to me and I felt like it dealt with the themes very well, I feel like to some people who like things to be a bit more, I don't know how to say this, but physical with their plot, will find the end a bit anticlimactic, but for me it worked well and I really did enjoy this book. I feel like it's got a lot of like deeper themes stirring under the surface, and it's so quotable, so I really did enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of these with Le Guin along. So my plan for today, it's now 4 p.m, so it's quite late and all my plans for today are out of the window. I do need to start, this is my 15th read out of 30, so now I'm halfway through my challenge, 16 days in, and it also means I've passed my History of Magic Owls because it deals with wizards and you needed to read something with sorcerers or witches in it, so that's definitely that. It replaces A Sorcery of Thorns because I don't know if I'm actually going to finish that one this month. We'll see if I get back in the mood to continue reading that one. Book for class, and that is Manfred by Lord Byron, which I believe is another play, and that's going to deal with like good and bad and grief, which are all things that I really like, and it's going to be a bit gothic and dark, so I'm looking forward to reading that play. I'm going to make apple crumble tonight because I want apple crumble, which is essentially why I'm going to be making it. I'm back. This has been quite a talky day, so I'm sorry for that, but I just finished Manfred by Lord Byron, and I have to say this was just an okay read for me. If you are going to start reading Lord Byron, I recommend you actually start with Cain rather than Manfred, but it was interesting reading this edition of Manfred. I had 2 endings, so Act 3, there's the unedited version and then there's the edited version. I did prefer the edited version because it felt like Manfred was choosing his own pathway. Let me just leave it at that, no spoilers. But in the other version, it felt kind of out of character what he ended up doing, and I didn't really like that as much. So in this case, I do prefer the edited version, and that play took me like an hour to read, and I read Act 3 twice but different versions, so it was a really quick read. That's done. That's my 16th out of 30 reads. It doesn't count towards my owls or anything, but that means I'm caught up because it's day 16 and I've read 16 books. So to get ahead, I'm going to read some more of it before I go to sleep, but I don't think I'm going to do much more reading than that. It's just making apple crumble and relaxing and watching the lecture for the rest of the night. Hi guys, so it's almost 3 AM and I'm reading Falling Fast by Sophie Mackenzie because it's for my owls where you have to read one while it's mostly dark. Doesn't mean do it at 1 AM, but I was down and out with cramps all yesterday evening. Didn't get much done after that last check-in with you guys, so I kind of slept all evening and then nighttime happened and I'm awake. But let's talk about this book because it's outrageous. I just can't believe that this is a thing that I grew up reading and I turned out okay. Like, I believe I turned out okay because this is just sending me all the wrong signals. So first of all, her name is River and she's like, oh my gosh, everybody doesn't understand my name when I say it the first time and they ask me how to spell it. Stereotyping her friends. She thinks really meanly about her friends. Why are they her friends if she thinks all these mean things about them? But okay, so I read over halfway of Falling Fast, so I guess I finished the prompt because I read more than half of it while asleep. And good morning and welcome to day 17. We're on day 17, but we're going with it. So I just finished reading Falling Fast by Sophie Mackenzie and boy was this a wild ride. It had ups and downs and I'm going to try and talk more about it in my wrap up because I have a lot of thoughts on this book. I feel like the beginning was not good and then the second half of the book got a lot better and it dealt with its themes in a much better manner, although the character still said some questionable things and all of that jazz. I had problems with it. That said, I'm now going to work on editing a video. Got my laptop that says Adam Parish because I am a Raven Cycle nerd, but I'm going to edit a book haul that I would like to post ideally today. I need to get back on top of my video game again, and then I've got Bible study which will happen at 12 to 2 PM. Gonna eat food, and then while my video is exporting from my editor and then uploading to YouTube, which takes like an hour here because the internet is not that great with uploading stuff here at home, I'm going to be reading or starting Rebel by Mary Lou. Thank you to Sydney Stories for gifting me this. So excited to delve back into the legend world and see what's waiting for me. Yep, dust jacket being removed. We know the drill here. No dust jacket when you're reading a hardcover book, at least for me. I'm so excited. Day 17 has been going well. Forgot to mention, because I always these days forget to mention, this was book 17 out of 30, so I am bang on track. And it also counts for my owls, as I read most of it in the night, going through my planner to find out what owl it counts for. La la la. Ooh. Astronomy. I have graduated from my astronomy class. Who keeps telling Mary Lou that it's a good idea to put coloured font in her books? No, it is not. We do not want to read purple font.
Listen to him. He's making the story sound like some Greek tragedy. Let not, dude. We'll take it from here, guys. You go, girl. We are the muses, goddess of the arts, and proclaimers of heroes. Heroes like Hercules. Honey, you mean Hercules? I'd like to make some. Our story actually begins long before Hercules, many eons ago. The world was made.
And then along came Zeus, he hurled his thunder. He's so funny! How did down there? No way! I wasn't done with it! How you feeling, sis? Simone? Simone, you're on the camera!
Okay, you can't use it.
I'm gonna use that.
You can't use this.
Simone, what are we watching? Turn face and tell them.
Which cartoon?
guys, and welcome to day 18. I have just been feeling really mellow today. That's just the word of the day today, mellow. I've done nothing all day but read, so I finished Marshmallow Sky by Kathy Cassidy, and I had such good taste as a child reading this series because it's just making my heart so happy, and I kind of want to go back and read all of her books from my childhood. So what I liked in this book was the fact that it wasn't so romance-centered, because even though everybody around her is getting into romance, she is not about that life. And it's about how you can grow up in different ways than just falling in love and all of that jazz. And it was just so nice to have a character who loves history so much. Well, the end did get a bit too fairy tale-y for me, just at that last 2 pages. Just went a bit too far. So that is my 18th book out of 30, doesn't count for hours or anything. What am I going to do now? I think I'm just going to do some chores, do some cleaning. When I'm feeling mellow, I really like to just do practical hands-on work where I can listen to music and not focus on anything else. Another cup of tea, some of the leftover apple crumble, grapes. Sounds like a good plan to me. Hey guys, so it's time for a bit of an update. Once I started cleaning, I just couldn't stop. I switched over to do ironing, and then once all the ironing was done, I made dinner with my mum and we made burritos. So we made everything that you need for the inside of the burrito, had a little impromptu dance party to Lionel Richie because he is the best. And then I started to draw, and I can't show you what I'm drawing because I know that my sister sometimes watches these videos and she requested that I draw her something for her birthday. She already knows she's going to get something, so that's no surprise for her. But yeah, I've just been drawing. I only draw about once a year. And it's been a bit rough getting back into it. I did 3 failed ones, but I'm now onto the final and it's going well. And while I was doing all of this today, I listened to an audiobook and I started and finished The Valley of Fear by Arthur Conan Doyle, which is the last Sherlock Holmes novel that I needed to read and my second last Sherlock Holmes book that I need to read until I've read all of the Sherlock Holmes stories. I didn't think The Valley of Fear was amazing. I thought the first part was good. It read just like a usual Sherlock Holmes mystery and it was interesting enough, but then the second part was kind of a history of all of this jazz that we didn't necessarily need, and I felt like the book could have just been the first part and started and finished there, summarised everything that happened in part 2, and it would have been wonderful. It just dragged on too long in my opinion. So I'm actually quite happy because that is my 19th book out of 30, and that means I am a day ahead for the first time ever. But it's good because the next book I want to read, well, that might take me 2 days.
Hi, I'm just shooting some YouTube videos about AirPods, the original AirPod and AirPod Pro, about how it fits into the ear and the different attachments you can make to get a better fit.
And what are your social media, what are you known as?
Social media Jedi. So you'll find me as a social media Jedi on YouTube.
Hello, it's day 20. What happened to day 19, you might ask? Day 19 never happened. It was a horrible day, full of cramps, and then I had night classes, so nothing much happened. Didn't do much except for cry on my own. So we're gonna go from day 20 onwards, and it is now 12, which is midday. I spent all morning reading, and I've started reading 6 of Crows, which a lot of you guys were very excited for me to read. I'm 150 pages in. This is 500 pages, so that's a bit over a quarter of the way in. And I'm liking it a lot. I really like the world because Ketterdam is literally the Netherlands but with magic. So I'm kind of glad that I'm in the Netherlands while I'm reading. I'm kind of glad that I'm in the Netherlands while I'm reading it because it feels like I'm at home but magical. I'm not convinced by any of their ages. I'm sorry, they are not as old as they are because they talk as if they're much older than that, and I know they've seen a lot of things and done a lot of things in life, but I feel like they are essentially adults in adult bodies, but then they just say that they're 15 or younger, and it's just like, no, they are adults. They are just adults. I didn't really vlog much today, and that's because I had night classes, so then the next day I'm pretty exhausted and tired, and I did a lot of reading this morning. And I finished Burning Bright by Sophia Mackenzie, and I did not like this book. It's more of the same as the first book, but it is worse. This is the sequel to Falling Fast, and I'm telling you, these teenagers are out of control. They don't respect their parents. Flynn is just terrible now. He's off the handle, he's angry at everything, and he's actually dangerous to be around. Their relationship is so toxic. River only thinks about him, is terrible to her parents and to her friends and to literally everyone. She is the worst, and they are just terrible characters, and they're doing terrible things, and they are not thinking about anybody else. The ending was decent. They made some good choices at the end, however it doesn't justify everything that went wrong, and they didn't really address everything that went wrong throughout this book, so I kind of just hated it. I've been thinking about the rest of the series and whether I want to continue or not, because it might be a bit painful to do so, but I just cannot believe that younger me read this series and was digging it back in the day. Like, younger me didn't have any taste. However, to cheer myself up from reading such a bad book, I'm going to reread another childhood one that I know I will enjoy, and that's Summer's Dream by Kathy Cassidy. I've been loving this series, and I have about an hour and 15 minutes until I'm going to have a group call with 2 of my friends, so I am going to make a nice cup of tea and read as much of this as I possibly can, and then afterwards I'm just going to keep reading, because once I've had night classes I let myself not study for the rest of the day because I'm pretty tired, and also I don't have to with the way my schedule works, so woo, woo, woo. Oh, and another reason I didn't film was because my sister's stair lift was being put into the house yesterday. We've disinfected it and everything, but I will make sure I show you her using that swanky stuff, but it was quite loud so I couldn't really film this morning. And what we're doing right now?
Playing Uno.
Who do you think is going to win? There's only one right answer, it's me. Good morning and welcome to day 22 of this reading vlog. I am currently reading Summer's Dream and I have just about 60 pages to go. Her parents' divorce and also her parents' new relationship is also very much at the forefront of this novel. I'm feeling some type of way about this one because Summer really wants to be a ballerina, she's aspiring towards it, she's working so hard, and I relate to her feeling of ambition and wanting to do your creative endeavour that people say is not really a good career choice. I also really relate to her being labelled as perfect and seen as always in control, good time management, able to do everything, and then when it comes to asking people for help, she doesn't want to break that image. That is something that I fall into quite a bit. I know it, I need to get over that. The eating disorder side of things is really at the forefront at the moment. It's getting quite emotional and it's like, it's affecting me, okay? It's affecting 21-year-old me reading this. So younger me reading this, I would just love to go back and know what I thought back then. But I think this might be my favourite one in the series so far. Wow, it's been 50 minutes and I've finished the book. This is honestly my favourite in the series. It really does delve into the eating disorder thing, but it also did a very good job of delving into the divorce side of things, because while the other characters, I'm not going to say they took the divorce in their stride or they took this new family combining in their stride, definitely not, especially with Honey, definitely not. But in this one you really get Summer's conflicting feelings on the whole matter, and it was hitting me hard. I've never had to experience a divorce, and I've never had to experience an eating disorder, but both sides of this book were just really getting me. It was so emotional and it was so deep and it felt so raw and honest, and I was just a bit shaken up actually. Hi, so it's afternoon time and I'm going to start reading Airhead Runaway, which is the book that the random numerator chose, and I would have just unhauled this, but the random numerator chose it because I read the first 2 books like over 10 years ago, and then this came out in 2020, and that's 2010, and that's when I bought it, but I haven't read it since. And I have to be honest, although my memory of books is very, very good, generally speaking, it's not 10 years good. So I just read the synopses on Wikipedia for books 1 and 2 because I'm not going to have time to reread them before I start it on this endeavour, and the story plot sounds absolutely insane. I remember thinking it's so good, and when I read it I was so convinced and really enjoyed it. However, like reading it on Wikipedia just makes me realize how crazy the story actually is. So I think it's one of those series where when you read it, it makes more sense and it was good, and that's the biggest memory I have, just loving this series. It's going to be interesting reading this third one after all this time, but I'm curious to see what I'm going to make out of it. Going to smash through some of this now, got a writing session with my sister later, and then it's dinner time. Okay guys, so it's evening time, it's just approaching 9:30, but I've read halfway through Airhead Runaway, and all I can say is that this book is another one of my childhood ones that's not exactly holding up. It's absolutely insane and crazy, but sort of in a ridiculous way, and our main character is very two-faced. She says things and judges people for certain things, but then she has the same thoughts herself. Talk about feminism, but then she's like, I need to protect my boyfriend's fragile masculinity, and it's really like two-faced. Everything is two-faced and the plot's just out of this world ridiculous. Dinner was a success tonight. I made some pork steak with some fancy toppings and stuff. I spent about an hour talking to my sister. I worked out today. I got a lot of things done, but I just haven't been in the mood for vlogging, and I've been told on Twitter not to force vlogging when I'm not in the mood, but I have been in the mood to talk about what I've been reading, so you've just been seeing a lot of reading snippets back to back. But I've planned what my next hairstyle will be for my next week, and we've got some very exciting things happening in my final vlog, especially as a certain someone turns 18, and I'm going to be reading lots of books because I gotta get there. So I'm going to read as much of this as I can tonight, but I'll give you my update in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Week 3, we're almost there. Next vlog, you should see me finish 6 of Crows, finish It by Stephen King, and read the rest of the books that I need for my last 3 owls, and also to make 30 books in 30. Please let me know in the comment section down below. What is the last book you read and didn't exactly like or disappointed you in some way? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button to see more, and don't you forget to hit the notification bell, be updated every time I have a new video, and you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!